Hi, Kurt. How are you?
Very well, thanks. And yourself?
I'm lovely, man. I'm actually happy to catch up with you. I know we had a great first chat. So, especially on today's topics, which is dyslexia in kids and the human trafficking in Dubai. But I'll start with the dyslexia in kids. What first drew your attention to the challenges children with dyslexia face, and how has it shaped your perspective on education?
Well, when we come to dyslexia, so firstly, I went through school, and back then, because I'm a lot older, back then, there were no titles that they could put on certain things. And later on in life, I realized I had dyslexia. So
Okay.
my dyslexia was in the closet for most of the time. Well, not most of the time, all of the time. I mean, even at school, friends of mine didn't know I was dyslexic because back then dyslexia there wasn't a name. You couldn't follow and find out what was wrong and that type of thing. So after 58 years, I've written a book, and now it's to enlighten people on what transpires with kids with dyslexia. And I must admit, if you look now at the bullying that's going on, it's on Facebook, and these kids, how they target youngsters, and for what reason? One of them would be dyslexia. Like that kid was sick. So it's enlightened something in me where we can target those kids, and also appeal to parents that sometimes you hear, oh, your child has problem with reading or spelling. It doesn't make you stupid. It just, if it comes out and you are dyslexic, it just makes you think a hell of a lot more different than other people. But the hardest part is being at school because kids will turn and look for the weaker person. And for instance, like me, I was numerous times, my mom was called in. Your son can't read, he can't spell. But I was the top with art, top in sport. So, one contradicts the other. And I couldn't see myself going into a place or remedial school. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with it, but I could function apart from reading and spelling. So my thing is to try and highlight, get those kids and the parents that mask and say nothing because it's going to escalate. And just quickly before we go to the next question, at two of the launches that I had, one in Johannesburg, one in Durban, people came up to me. I don't want to say secretly, but they said to me, "Do you know I have it?" And I've been all through my life and I never said anything. And it wasn't my place to say, "Come on now, this is the time for you to let people know." It's up to you. When you're ready, you'll let people know. And it doesn't make you stupid. That is the main thing that I have to get across to those young kids. You just think differently, and when the time is right, it will all come to the fore. I might have
In
gone
your
off a bit,
view,
but anyway,
oh,
I'm
oh,
open my
okay.
heart.
Oh, oh, okay. In your view, what are some of the most common misconceptions about dyslexia that still persist today?
The thing is, and I've had it now that I've come clear and I've been open about it, and people's reaction. I think one of the things is they don't understand what dyslexia is. As soon as you say you're unable to read or spell, and it doesn't mean you cannot do it at all. You can, and because of other kids or other people read so beautifully, you kind of think, I'm not going to go and try, so you don't apply yourself. Um, so the misconceptions of dyslexia is that people make their own instead of looking into it and seeing how they can assist or what they can do to try and help people. instead of condemning them and pointing and making and having a laugh.
Mm.
I find that very disturbing,
Mm.
because what that dyslexic person might have, or he's got dyslexia, somebody else can have something totally, and are we going to laugh at them as well? I think we need to change that mindset.
All right. I have a question for you already in the comment, which is quite similar to my third question, but I'll show you this comment here. Hi, Kurt. Thank you for your enlightenment. How does one recognize dyslexia in a kid and at what age?
The thing is, mine was picked up when I was a kid in primary school. And to be honest, it's obviously you can pick it up a lot earlier, I feel. And I'm not speaking
Mhm.
as a professional, I'm speaking from my point of view. And when you're younger, you kind of feel that, how come I'm battling with this and somebody else reads that so beautifully? Um, but then I thought, now we're all different. But I could play soccer and he couldn't play soccer. So it was those things that I always toyed with. Um, but I think more so with parents, because it's difficult for the kid to go to a parent and say, "Oh, I can't read." So parents can actually look and get your kid to read, and then you'll
Mm.
see what, wow, why is he reading so slow? Is there? Then you can look into what is the problem. Sometimes it might be glasses, and I believe now there are special classes for dyslexic kids that assist them in reading. I haven't been that route because I'm long in the tooth. So those things are available to them. Um, I am not a specialist where I can tell you these are the things that you can pick up, but I'm sure if you spend time with your kid, you will pick it up. You will see there's something, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your kid. It just means that they might be needing to be treated differently at school, or mine was just reading.
All right. How can parents and teachers better identify early signs of dyslexia and support children before they fall behind?
That's a very, very good question, because, like I've been speaking recently, and a friend that I grew up with, and her son has been to numerous schools, and he just couldn't come to terms with the way they functioned. And we found that, I don't want to knock teachers, they've got a job to do, but
Mm.
you need to look and see that that child is maybe different. Why? And try and assist in finding out what is wrong with the child. Because once you establish that, it makes it so much easier to deal with what's at hand. So my thing is, and I had it when I was young. I was told I was going to sell drugs on the street corner because I couldn't read or I couldn't spell. That to me
Mm.
doesn't make sense. But that's
Mm.
what people do, is they make. And the thing is, if it's done at a very young age and it's put on you, you actually start believing it. And I think back then, together with apartheid, um, it was just a different. We weren't open to the stuff we open to today. But I mean, I don't want
Mhm.
to make apartheid one of the problems. It's not. But it
Yeah.
did, or it made it a bit more difficult to see that
Mm.
if. And also, once I started researching and finding out what was wrong with me, it all incurred costs. And back then, you folks didn't have the money. So you kind of
Mhm.
push it to the side and say, oh, no, you can still get by. You can kick a ball, you can run, you can paint, you can sketch. Those are the alternatives. But today, I feel there's a lot more out there. But I think my heart is with the kids that they don't have the finances to assist in finding out what the problem is. That's really bad because what happens is it just gets worse and worse and worse. So it'd be nice if we can find somewhere that's affordable and these kids can be looked at and seen what the problem is and assist them and let them know that after school you can do whatever you want. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Sure. Do you believe schools are doing enough to accommodate students with learning differences, or is there still a gap in awareness and resources?
Yeah, so for me, I hated school. I don't know why. Well, I do, but another topic. The thing is with schools, and if you look at today's rates, and I was one of those kids that in matric, I chose to go to movies and not write my matric. So I don't have a matric, but it didn't make me stupid. I have a business and I've been running it for over 35 years. So um, there's my trail of thought gone. But the thing is, people cannot just assume. You've got to give the person a chance and let them apply themselves. And just quickly, what was your question again?
Oh, about do you believe schools are doing enough to accommodate
Oh,
students with learning differences, or is there still a
okay.
gap in awareness and resources?
No, definitely. The schools, I feel, although my son has been out of school, he's almost 26 now, or he is 26. The thing is, I feel that schools still don't look and see how they can remedy certain things. They would rather quit and say, oh, you're stupid. But that is not the case. So it would be nice if the schools could then target dyslexia or any other learning ability. I'm not just saying dyslexia because I was, and assist these kids because I find that more and more that I'm researching into this and trying to understand it more. There's ADHD, there's various other things that the kids are, and my son had ADHD, and I didn't understand it. And now
Okay.
that I understand it or understand it much more, I can now see how he battled. And it makes a massive difference if you just understand how they operate. Then you can parent around that, but not letting them get away with, I won't say disrespect, but getting away with time and when you should do things and how you should do things. As a parent, you still need to stand your ground and say, that needs to be done. But you know when to ask and get your kid in line. And today he lives in the UK and he's doing fine.
What role does emotional support play in helping dyslexic children build confidence and thrive academically and socially?
See, with the thing is, if you look at back in the day, if you had something like that and they put a label on you, you would go into a hole and hide. So even my mom and them, they knew, but they like didn't know. It's like you getting on, you're doing stuff, you started a business, everything's fine. So one of the things that I say I did, and obviously there might be others out there, is that I deflect and hide. There's times that I wouldn't answer. I know what they're talking about, but I wouldn't answer because it's going to lead to something else. And one of the things that I hate is it was like people would say, "You know how to spell this word." I don't want to start trying that because the first thing they do is like, "Oh, you can't spell." And does that pay the bills? No. So yes, we need that more. You need the emotional support. Like at this stage, I openly tell people that I have it, and some of them were like, "You didn't have to tell me," but that's how I feel. The more people that know about it, and the funny thing is that now that I'm more vocal about it, the very same people that's been coming, to the office for years, they actually look at you differently. And and trying to find out fault, like, did I miss anything? There's
Hmm.
nothing to miss. So
Yeah.
people that got any dyslexia, anything, please do not give up on what you believe you are. Just continue and you will find something if you want to find it. I mean, on the other hand, these kids are just like, I'm stupid, I've got dyslexia, and they go
Mm.
do what, or some of them don't do anything. They rely on their parents.
Mm. Yeah,
So
that's
I just
sad.
hope what I say uh, gets home to anybody, be it adults, kids, whoever. And that doesn't make you reading. And the other aspects of dyslexia, um, I mean, I think there's 6 different aspects of on how you want to. But people, if you're interested, look it up. There's loads. You'll be surprised.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to our next segment, which is the human trafficking in Dubai. All right, my opening question to you on that is what motivated you to explore or speak about the issue of human trafficking in Dubai, and how did you approach researching such a sensitive subject?
The thing is, this all started when my sister went missing. And at that time, we didn't think anything. We just thought there was a dispute between a couple, and it happens to all of us. So, on learning that, my colleagues called me and said, "Oh, your sister hasn't been to work, and it's unlike her." So I started. Now, what is going on? So, cut a long story short, got to Dubai, and while I was there, a lot of doors were shut. They didn't want you to know certain things. But you find that, I don't know, where that drive comes, that persistence, resilience, to just do what you got to do as an individual for a family member. And the more I dug, the more I found stuff that was, wow, do people actually do this? And
Mm.
one of the things was the human trafficking. And in saying, talking about human trafficking, the guy that attacked or my sister's ex, he did work for very affluent people, people with lots of money. He somehow got involved in human trafficking.
Oh.
And one of the things is, like you say, human trafficking. Why would people do it? So,
Mm.
in the case or in the scenario with my sister, strange Arab guy rocked up at a door, knocked on the door, and put a box and said, "This is for Mark." That would be a ex-boyfriend. And she was like, "No, please don't leave anything here. I'd rather you take it away and bring it back when he's here." They left. It was about an hour and a half. He got back, said, "He's still not here." He says, "I don't care. Here it is." So she took it inside, and when she opened it, it was a box full of money. We're not
Oh.
talking about a lunch box. We're talking about a box. So I can understand why people get involved in it because it's money and everybody wants to make money.
Mhm.
Where's it honest or if it's not, if it's dishonest? But the more is out there, and you find Dubai. I spent quite a while in Dubai. It's a fantastic place, and with any place where there's growth, first it's very safe, and eventually all the characters come. The human trafficking, the drugs. I was blown away to see the amount of drugs, alcohol. It's more than I've ever seen, and it was in a Arabic state.
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I understand why people want to make money, and greed becomes not a nice thing. But anyway, we can't change everybody.
Yeah, that's true. What are some of the biggest misconceptions the public has about human trafficking, especially in regions like the Middle East?
Wow. The thing is, you know, I don't want to go out on a limb and say, but I think it's in any country. And where I've grown up as a youngster, where you were involved there, I couldn't just get up in the morning and say, today I'm going to start selling drugs. This is my corner. You will be taken out because there's always somebody higher than you. And when you think that guy that runs your area is in charge, he's not. There's somebody higher than him, and there's somebody higher than that person. There's always somebody taking the cream of the money, doing absolutely nothing. And kids can be dying, people can be overdosing. They don't care. That money goes to the guys at the top. They sit there and act like they don't do anything. But that's where it all starts. And it's happened here in South Africa, all our politicians. It's happening abroad. And it's just for money. And you can have all the millions in the world. But there's one thing you can be guaranteed: you cannot take it with you.
That's
So
true.
I don't understand some people. Billionaires, for what? What are you doing with your billions? There's so many people in South Africa that needs help. Take your billions and go and help them. Then you're doing something for your country.
That's it. How can awareness campaigns or storytelling help give a voice to victims and encourage stronger action against trafficking?
So what I've found that people, they tend to, it doesn't involve my family, so I don't have to worry about it. And I think it's absolutely a wrong thing to do in anything. Like when we grew up, um, so I had a very strict parents, and where we grew up and we lived, there was lots of gangsterism and stabbings and all that. And my dad was, if I ever find out that you're involved in that, you got me to deal with. So you start looking and becoming something different. Um, if you don't have that, you left to your own devices and you start doing stuff that is just acceptable. And we can't go through life and just people just accept it's not on. Um, all the dodgy dealings and stuff just doesn't. It might help you, but what about the rest of the people? You want to keep them away from you. Um, it's just I'm not comfortable with the way things are handled at the moment. But anyway, such is life. We all have to live our own lives.
What challenges do you believe are most urgently needed, legally or socially, to protect vulnerable individuals from exploitation?
Uh, just the first part again. What?
What challenges do you believe are most urgently needed, legally or socially, to protect vulnerable individuals from exploitation?
I think on that topic we need both, because socially, if you um, tell people and explain what is going on, and it's awesome for them to know. But on the other hand, we also need the legal system to put the rights in the right places and to make sure people don't get away with the stuff that they do. I mean, human trafficking is big business. We don't understand it because we haven't heard of people that have gone missing. And I've dealt with ACT, SA, and they are involved. And the stories they tell, they've shared with us has been unbelievable. What these people are prepared to do is to take youngsters and groom them and abuse them. So the more that we learn about it, there should be more organizations being ready to spread what is going around. And not only when it affects you, then you want to learn, because then it's too late. If you learned in advance, and another thing is there's no guarantee that you can ever change a person's mind. If somebody
Mm,
says, "Oh, I've got a job in the Far East and I'm going to be earning so much," they just see the bucks and they chase it.
mm,
And one of the things, I mean, I've done a bit of traveling, and wherever I stayed or where I worked, nobody ever took my passport. You go to Dubai, you get a job, and they take your passport. Why? That I cannot understand.
mm,
So the one thing I must admit, my time spent in Dubai, and I was also involved. When involved, I grew up during apartheid. It has the same aspects of apartheid. Currently in South Africa, it was first whites, now it's blacks. But in the Far
mm,
East, it's the brown guys. It's very different. So it's like, why do we have to do that to people?
mm. That's true. All right. My final question to you is on a personal note, how do you manage the emotional weight of engaging with such difficult topics and what keeps you motivated to keep raising awareness?
Well, that's difficult. Some people have told me I have the right surname, Winter, so I'm cold, and that's how you handle those type of things. But uh, maybe they're right.
Mhm,
Um, I, what I believe is that there's
mhm,
certain things that you're given in life, and you somehow there's a coping mechanism, and I think maybe I have it. And don't be fooled. It's not that easy. I've been up and down so many roads. But my belief is that you are only given stuff that you can handle. So if anything happens to you, and sometimes you believe that, how can I ever get out of this? It's going to be difficult. There is always a way. It might not be the way that you're looking for, but it will come when you least expect it, and it happens, and life goes on. And I think that's more people should be more positive. Um, One of the things is I'm going to say something now, and my wife's not going to be too chuffed. But I went to a Catholic
mhm.
school.
Okay.
I was an altar boy. I did all the stuff. I went to Israel. I mean, that's not a popular thing to say now, but yes, I was there. And when I left Israel, I left my Christianity there. It doesn't mean I don't believe. It just means I believe differently. And that's
Mm,
what we need to understand. She chooses to follow, a, a pastor, and that's perfectly 100%. I think on both sides, we're doing the right thing. We just act differently. It's a different thing if I was a mass murderer or something. Then you'll say, oh, there's something wrong with that guy. But I think in
mhm,
here, it's good, and respect whatever Christianity, religion, I respect it. It's not mine. If you deal with that, then you must follow that. But when
mhm.
it comes to wanting to kill somebody, it's a different scenario. It might not be religious. So that's just my take. And the way I am, I don't want to have a go at anybody. I don't want anybody to feel that you don't follow my faith, so I'm not interested in you. No, I respect you the way you do it. You need to respect others the way they do it. And I think if we have respect for one another, it'll go a long way.
Cool. All right. There is a comment just to acknowledge you. This is from
Uh,
M.W. Rostan. Hi, Kurt. Big of you to open up about your personal battles, of which you've experienced more than most. So I think that's just a message of support, I guess, for you there.
yeah, no, the thing is, if you don't speak, And
Hmm.
I come from that type of environment that we would rather keep, the personal stuff and not say it, but it eats you up inside. So I've done a lot of changing. It's also been hard. And one of the things is I would never say I love you to anyone because that's how we were brought up. We were brought up that like my dad would do things and that's what you'd look at and you were supposed to relate it as he loves you. But he never ever said it. So with my son,
Yeah.
when I said it, his eyes were like, whoa, Dad, are you okay? And today we have that, and not only my son, my wife as well. It's yes, when I'm having tough times, then I don't want to say it.
Hmm.
I know she probably feels I don't say it too much, I don't say it enough, but when it's enough, too much, you're going to look at it that way.
Yeah. All right. All I gotta say there. Thanks so much for your time, and look forward to catching up with you again in the future.
Well, thank you for your time, and thanks for allowing me to spread what I feel is relevant. And yeah, hopefully it can go somewhere. And oh, just a quick
Yeah.
one.
Sure.
Anybody that wants to actually purchase the book, you can get it on Take a Lot, and it can be sent to you. Otherwise, if you're in Johannesburg and you're close by Honeydew, pick it up. It's a lot cheaper. But thanks again, and I've enjoyed this. Thanks.
You're most welcome.
Okay, cheers.